Welcome to God's Way, YTVY. I'm Adolphina Shephard. This is my co-host, Thomas Knight's Templar.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this crazy show.
Sorry, we've been having a good time giggling here. Although men don't giggle, they laugh. Yeah. But anyway, so we have a couple of wonderful guests here and regular guests, and I'm going to introduce them and ask them to tell a little bit about themselves. You may have seen them on the show before.
1,000 times.
Yeah, maybe. It's been, I understand our anniversary for the show is 10 years, having a series next month. Wow. So in 10 years, you've been on quite a bit, right? Wow. So we have Mary.
Wait till you see that cake. Oh, boy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we have to get a nice cake. Mary, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, I'm Mary Silvernail. I'm a professional astrologer and a clinical hypnotherapist and shaman, healer. Yeah.
And then we also have Stephen Popiotek.
Yes.
You got it right.
I got it right. Yeah. I've learned after 10
Go
years.
play Lotto.
That was good. That was good.
Don't play Lotto.
Play Powerball now.
Oh, my God.
Go ahead.
So, Stephen, tell us a little bit about yourself for those that don't know you.
That's a very good question. Yeah. I'm actually gonna rebrand myself as a New York mystic mage, and so I'm gonna start some social media campaign around that just to kind of get some more pre-press.
Well, you know, it's funny you're changing your name. I was out the other night and we met some people. And they started calling me Zsa Zsa. Zsa Zsa.
Well, they weren't talking about Zsa Zsa Gabor. They were talking about Zsa Zsa Binks.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't know who Zsa Zsa Binks is, but I don't think I like that.
All our Trekkies out there know who that is.
Oh, my God.
Okay, now you got to tell me.
Zsa Zsa Binks is this big animal that talks like this with a weird voice.
Well, we have an odd voice.
Okay. You don't have an odd voice.
Anyway, folks, we're going to be talking about galactic interference in earthly affairs, part 2. Okay, so
extraterrestrial interference, the same thing, though.
Oh, did I do it again?
Well,
see,
just because in case you want to find part 1, yeah. It was called extraterrestrial interference in Earth's affairs.
See, that's a blooper.
Okay. It's close enough.
That's all right. So
Galactic
where
ET.
shall we start?
Well, why don't we start where we left off last time? Now we were talking
You remember
about.
that 11 months ago?
No, well, we were talking about the negative ETs. You know, there's good ETs and there's negative ones. To what I have heard, there's about 15 different groups vying for possession of this planet. Most of them are good. There's like 9 that are good, and the rest are whatever. And since you are a resident guru on this, you kick it off.
There you go. Well, yeah, I guess a little bit of a quick update between last time and now, right? It's been quite active. I mean, as some of the viewers know and the people here know, I also do, aside from individual session work, I do group work, usually for new moon, full moons, which are also involving higher channeling, grid work, healing work with the planet, as well as individuals. So I would say the past several months, it's been turning into this higher spiritual, like warrior work, where we have to hold space to help deconstruct different negativity grids and constructs that different ones keep putting around the earth that are designed to hijack and siphon our energy and co-create more of a negative timeline that we don't want to create. But we've had to identify, different locations, facilities that these technologies are being broadcast from. And the Andromeda positive groups from Andromeda and from Saturn have been giving us extra support to help deconstruct a lot of them. And then more recently, I started talking, we were talking about this before, there have been different attempts to try to dissociate people from healthy interaction with the elements, with the 5 elements, and they've tried to create situations where they would misuse some of the platonic solids which relate to the elements. For example, like the tetrahedron relates to the fire element in sacred geometry. So there was a negative group from Sirius B that I believe we talked about last time,
we did.
who are kind of like the Romulans from Star Trek for the Trekkie people. And they had put a negative tetrahedron around the Earth to disrupt the fire element, to try to create almost like a magnifying lens. That was part of the extra heating that was going on this past summer. It wasn't just because of the so-called global warming idea. There's been a lot of geoengineering and weather warfare.
So this has to do with the fires.
This is kind of fires as well, but the fires are a complicated agenda. But when we attract one of the locations they're broadcasting the signal for that negative hyperspatial tetrahedron, which was also connected to their negative homeworld. So part of that is that these groups are trying to terraform the Earth in more subtle ways, not just in the normal way that we think about, adding elements physically, but by trying to create more of a negative linkage between their negative homeworld energetically to ours via one of the elements. So they were trying to bring in a negative version of fire. And also they had facilities on Mars that they were trying to hijack vortexes on Mars and pump it to the Earth to try to create a negative male overlay over the Earth in order to try to disrupt our relationship to the divine masculine. So it's been a lot of this.
Boy.
Yeah. So it's been a lot going on with that.
Well,
So
look at the divine masculine that was happening here.
we definitely need more of it.
Don't tell them what they are.
Oh my God.
I want to ask Stephen something. Stephen, what do you think about the preciseness of the fire in Hawaii?
Oh, come on.
That one I don't, in terms of
hear what he has to
extraterrestrial,
say.
well, I mean,
You know what he's going to say.
that one's to me is not necessarily extraterrestrial based, at least not from what I've seen so far.
Right.
For me, the fires in Canada have a much bigger agenda going on between human and extraterrestrial interference combined together. Because one of the Series B facilities is in British Columbia, and they were manipulating the electrical flow on the ground to also spark more fires there. Again, trying to disrupt people's healthy relationship to fire. So you magnify a destructive fire, and then you keep people out of the heart, and you box the earth and the structure that amplifies negative expression of fire. And then there was another ET group that we talked about, I think last time. They're like the alien Joker ET group, I call them, because they work a lot with the negative clown, full card energies. We can talk more about them too, but they were hijacking some of the elements when we were in New York here, when the fires were first coming over with the actual wind directing the smoke over New York City. We were picking up that the carbon molecules were being hijacked to a certain extent with this Joker ET energy of the air element from their negative world in Orion. They were trying to terraform and use that as a signal, like a malware, to try to encroach on our collective subconscious with their nasty, dark funhouse, dark full card energy. It's like inverted full card, dark trickster. It's all trying to aggravate, keep people separate, divided, keep people fearful of their own planet so that we're not fully grounded and centered where we're supposed to be.
Because everybody says, nobody remembers like being a kid and remembering fires like this that would happen and everything,
definitely not.
right?
Look, between the fires, between the storms.
And the storms,
when Sandy came
and
up the
tornadoes.
coast. Not only that, when Sandy came up the coast, I have never in my life seen a hurricane go and make a left turn.
Yep.
Okay? Really, I've never seen a hurricane come up the coast and make a left turn inward. They always veer off towards Nova Scotia and up that way.
You're right.
All right? And this one makes a left turn, and it
Pretty
hits
obvious.
head on to a nor'easter. Come on. You cannot tell me that this is not all directed stuff.
Yeah, people have to wake up to the fact that this is spiritual, chemical warfare.
This
and
is HARP.
That's
It's
true.
it's like a synergy of combination of things, right? Because the geoengineering and weather warfare has been around for a long time, and as you mentioned, HARP is one of the locations that they were doing things. But they also the military had that report where they said owning the weather by 2030, I think it was, or 2025. Can't remember which one, but where they break down how that their main. This is written many years ago, but it was for that targeted time frame where they were describing how they could their goals on creating earthquakes and creating tsunamis and storms was part of that actual. It was part of their plan to begin with, which anytime they announce it, we already know they already have it. But still, so it's them kind of like pre-setting the stage for its introduction, right?
And then they've had it 30 years or 50 years
exactly.
or something like that,
And
right?
I can't remember who was one of the former, was it National Security Directors? What is his name again? This was back in, it's many years ago too, but he mentioned about that on the public forum that there was a new form of eco-terrorism, which was about using weapons, electromagnetic warfare to create earthquakes and tsunamis. He said it directly. I can't remember which one it was right now, but people can probably look it up again, or I'll post a link to that one. That was a real famous quote. So this stuff they've thrown it out there like little seeds of it. And other researchers too, like Dutch Saints, he's a good YouTube guy who does a lot of earthquake prediction analysis, and he shows a lot of the HARP patterns and the radar, because in some of the advanced radar systems, it'll show these different patterns that are going out from when you'll see the clouds or the rain form around it, and it's coming from a lot of the NEXRAD radar systems actually, which just said it's supposed to be just monitoring weather, but he had said that it was part of the SDI,
they were saying
Star Wars back in Reagan days,
they
where
were using,
they used the microwaves, extra amplitude, so you can just like heating up your
That's
water
what they were doing.
in a microwave oven. They can use it to heat up.
They're using the 5G against us.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
You tell me, why would the 5G be installed here in the United States by Asian companies? Why?
Trickery,
Oh.
right there.
Don't we have our
trickery.
own technicians?
Yeah, trickery involved there.
Okay, trickery,
Ha.
shenanigans.
You know,
And there is weather warfare between the countries too. I mean, a lot of times there'll be an earthquake here, there'll be an earthquake in China, or a hurricane here, a typhoon in China. So like China, U.S., and Russia have had a lot of weather warfare against each other, where these things pop up tit for tat. You know, that's part of the unseen war that's been going on for a long time too. Aside from our own desire, like the Air Force using HAARP and other things to create more chaos and disturbances, there is that in between stuff also.
oh,
you
I'm
know?
sure.
Yeah,
You know, one time I was flying in to Philadelphia.
On your broom?
Yeah, Tommy. Not on a
Or
broom,
spaceship.
on a rug. or
spaceship.
a spaceship. Anyway, so I'm on a plane. I'm flying into Philadelphia. It's perfectly clear out. Over this one building, which was isolated, it looked like it was a private residence. There was a cloud and lightning was going into this house, and I said, okay,
Oh my
who are
God.
they trying to kill in that house?
Wow.
I mean, it was so clear from the air that it was
Wow.
targeted.
Sounds like Ghostbusters.
I don't know, but you know what? I actually witnessed that myself. And the other thing that came to mind when you were talking was, you remember that movie, Conspiracy Theorist, with Mel Gibson?
Oh my God,
and
yeah.
he says,
Classic, yeah. Right?
you got to get the president out of here because they're going to kill him. They're going to have an earthquake.
I forgot about that scene.
Remember
Yeah.
that?
No, I forgot that
They
scene.
tell us in the movies,
It's
you know,
true.
they think it prevents their karma.
Right now, I wouldn't warn them. I just let it happen.
And
Under
they
the
also
present
released
situation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right.
You know?
Yeah. I remember with lightning stories too. They've actually talked about that this past year in the mainstream science community about the army or military creating lightning in order to target, you know, as a weapon, to make lightning as a weapon.
Ball lightning, they call it. Yeah.
Ball lightning too, but that's like scalar wave weapon systems too with that stuff. And even the drones, and you know, and was it United Arab Emirates, was it, or Dubai? It was Dubai, I think it was, when they wanted to. That came out also earlier in the year, where they sent their drones out to make it rain. Drones that would shoot electricity into the air to basically create clouds and water, so it could rain over the area. But that was a very common kind of practice. So you know, it's not just cloud seeding like people talk about. That's such old technology. It's much more advanced than that. You know.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's electromagnetic understanding of nature, you know, as well, and how magnetism, electricity affect our weather. Not just not just normal heat patterns they talk about, you know.
Listen, the planet cycles every, I think, like 100 years. It cycles a pattern of cold one winter, cold one summer. You know, it's been a pattern of cycling. All right, it has shown that the planet actually got cooler, not hotter.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Up
these
until this
garbage-
recent
they
distortion.
want to get rid of the cows, but never mind those other countries over there that their
Yeah,
buddies
that's-
running refineries and things
forget
like
that.
that.
Exactly.
And filling the air up with carbons.
Yeah.
I mean, don't say nothing to them. Why? Because they own 3/4 of the United States.
Yeah.
What were you talking about with cycles that the 20-year cycle? Can you repeat that?
Oh, yeah. That's also with the time that we're filming this in August 12th, 13th. That time frame. There's for those that are familiar with the Montauk Project or Philadelphia experiment.
Yeah.
Back in 1943, when they first made that experimental effect to make the Navy destroyer ship invisible to radar, but it opened up
The
a portal.
Eldridge.
Yeah, Eldridge, and portal in time and space. Right, it jumped in 20-year intervals. And in 1983 in Montauk, Long Island, where they were doing some parallel experiments, it had appeared there, but they had realized that it was jumping in 20-year intervals later on. Preston Nichols, from one of the engineers of Montauk Project, I knew him. I was with him several times at his house when he was alive. He died a few years ago. We had a very strange connection from the project-wise, but he had told me that they had discovered that because that 20-year interval was a natural biorhythm of the Earth, and then if you link that up to the Mayan calendar, Mayans had a 20-year K-tune cycle that was also there, and there's also isn't one of the eclipse cycles when eclipses link up? Is it 19.5 or something years or
19 and a half.
right? Yeah,
Absolutely correct.
So that's close enough to 20 years as well to be that different type of doorway opening
Yes,
there.
that's true.
So each sort of created a time ripple, and then we just passed the next 20-year doorway, which was last weekend. And there were things going on where they were trying to reset the timeline or link people up to another dark spin-off timeline from the Philadelphia experiment time frame and different time agencies that are here.
Well, that was
the government has.
Einstein's theories that were involved in that.
Yeah, they were definitely warping that for sure. You're using closed timeline
Because
curves.
what they were saying is that a lot
Electromagnetically open up doorways.
A lot of the sailors basically lost their minds, and a lot of them were fused with the metal of the ship.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to
Wait a
see. I
minute, what?
love to
Yeah,
see.
back
Fused
then.
with the metal of the
Yeah.
ship from
Yeah.
I would love to see
Well, because when it
how
opened up,
they
they
explain
weren't
that.
properly grounded.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, because when they open up the portal there and the phase of the
All the molecules came
were-
together.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't properly shielded the way they would now.
Yeah.
do it,
They
yeah.
became part of.
Yeah.
became
Oh
part of the
boy,
ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's horrid.
Some of them did. Oh, yeah. And some
Well,
of them
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the past couple of months hasn't been pleasant. I mean, they've been inundating the earth with negative sacred geometry, satellites, etc. And I know what happened yesterday and the day before. I mean, has everybody felt a bit off and exhausted the past couple of days?
Yesterday more so, and 2 days ago we had the new moon, and that was something we were talking about before too. This one was also a huge one because with the new moon in Leo, which was a real Lion's Gate to me on a lunar level. But there's also been a bigger interference with the group from this other group from Southern Cross constellation. We talked about the Beelzebub group last time, first part.
Yeah.
But there's another group from there, that same system. That's I call like the Shadow Reapers, because they're actually the ones who brought the Grim Reaper story to
Oh,
us.
boy.
And yeah, they're a negative fifth dimensional group. They like to wear the little hoods and a
Well,
black,
you
black
just full of
shadow
all
faces.
good stuff, ain't you?
Yeah. Yeah, no, they're like the real nasty Halloween people, I call them. No, they're one of the creepiest groups you can imagine out there.
I'm getting a
And-
picture
and-
of like what were they, the Morpheus, or what were they called in the Harry Potter
Oh,
movies?
the
Yeah.
oh my God, yeah, the ones like almost like the,
black
Wraith or
ones,
the
yeah,
came
yeah,
in.
yeah. I
very
forget
very
what they were
similar.
called, yeah,
but
that's the
but
picture I'm
they're
getting.
more intelligent. So they're they're not always as but they definitely work with that cemetery like galactic dark underworld energy, harnessing death from people across different planets. It's very creepy.
So ultimately, which group do you feel is going to save us?
Oh well, this goes directly into this because this particular group, the Shadow Reapers, they had put a negative cube around the Earth, which we had just discovered a few days
Who
ago.
did this, Stephen?
This Shadow Reaper group from
Okay.
from Southern Cross. But we I had to locate remote view before I did the group. 8 locations the guides were showing me globally where they had these transmitters, underground towers, using like kind of like the original Tesla principle, pulsing energy through the Earth as a conduit.
Right.
But they had these negative dark star crystals that were negative crystals from their home world that were linked up to vortexes in their home world, and they were trying to pulse it through here to create like negative standing waves to create that geometry as an enclosure that had like energetic mirrors in the cube, inside and outside. So it was basically trying to block Lightworkers' communication to positive star nations. Because a lot of people talked the past few months were like certain positive ET groups were harder to contact. We noticed. We're saying we're like, where does this group go? Where does this group go? What's going on? And I was saying, okay, we'll get the answer at the appropriate time. In this camp, I was like, oh, they're really trying to do like electronic warfare against our signal call and response. So Andromedans and Saturn beings were coming in to help take it down. But then it was beautiful because the second half we started feeling beings I haven't felt in years started coming in. I was like, oh my God, we have like the higher bird tribe from like Altair, the Eye of the Eagle constellation. They were coming in. Hadn't felt them literally in years. Some of the Thor, Odin, Asgardian group, they were coming in, but we felt they were being blocked by some negative ice energy, not just literal ice, but in the poles, it was almost like a negative magnetic time ice, they were calling it, that the negative Nordics put in to try to like, almost imagine having a castle with a drawbridge and then someone try to freeze the doorway to the drawbridge. So the armies are waiting to come in, but they can't, but they need somebody on our side to help press the button to let them, help them do their thing. So that's kind of what we do. And that's the whole point of this is we need to have, we're like the ground crew, right? For a cosmic extension of our teams, so when we hold support and we help, report the injustices and help ground it here, they can come in more from their side.
Yeah, well, this is serious stuff.
It is really serious, yeah.
actually.
Yeah, very serious.
Very
Well, you
serious.
missed our conversation that Stephen and I were having. Yesterday, it came to my attention that they were using the satellites to try to push the planets or the planet's energy to be in alignment. And it's no surprise about Asgard because I was getting that they were trying to, from that Thor movie, I saw a vision of where they were trying to line up the planet so they could open the portal for the negative ETs to come through. I don't know if you saw that movie. I don't remember exactly. It was
What was
part
the
two.
name of it?
That was Thor.
It's one of the Thor movies.
Thor movie part 2, like the
Yeah.
second Thor movie.
And so a clarion call went out, and God took care of that. But this is all part, and I've noticed it. It's the whole summer has been kind of like constant,
warfare, one after the other.
bombardment, and it hasn't been a lot of fun, right?
It's amazing to me that it's so easy to see the pinpoint things that are going on. The fires in Canada.
Yes.
This latest thing in Maui. It's funny how the rich white billionaires that live there and one female that lives there that's not white, okay, we won't use their names, all right? None of their houses burned to the ground.
Yep.
You know, and nobody died in their houses. But you know how many children died in that fire?
And the natives.
Okay.
But the
All right.
preciseness, right?
Yeah, it was pinpointed.
It's just like in Paradise, California, right? Where
The
we had
alarms-
the metal melt and the trees were okay
The
around it.
alarms,
And,
because of the,
it's-
they had the fire alarms because of the system there, because of the possibility of volcanoes, all right? And they didn't go on. Come on.
and the electric company were
Talk
blocking.
about the fix being in.
The
Anyway,
electric company
company.
cars are blocking the road,
And how
the
about
passageway
this?
out.
Right.
Then I love when they say things like this. You know,
Frightening. I mean,
ridiculous.
this is
Yeah.
hideous.
today it was 127 degrees in Vegas or in Nevada. Well, that's kind of normal.
Oh,
You know what I mean? What are you trying to say?
Well, that's a little
And
extra,
what
that's a little
part of
extreme for
fire
that too.
there?
but-
Nothing.
Well, I'll tell you, your thoughts will go on fire there. Okay? when they tell you in Florida it's 110 degrees, 112 degrees every single day. They're trying to destroy the crop.
Oh yeah.
That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make a food shortage here.
Speaking of
That's what this is
distorting the
designed.
fire element with that tetrahedron
And
stuff
look
too,
who's
yeah,
buying up
yeah.
all the property where the food is grown.
The Chinese and Bill Gates.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the enemy of this country is its billionaires that are corporate, okay, and China.
And the military-industrial complex. in
That's
general.
right. That are working in cahoots with them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a whole thing going on with China and the AI scenario going on with the alien AI. They're definitely they were trying to pull some stuff a few months ago. We were intercepting it, also out of body and dream plane stuff, and doing some group stuff around that. It was not just China. China working with some people over here, but and some clients I've had too in different locations. We've been seeing some of the alien AI threat popping up at different areas. Even a client in India, we had to clear out some stuff, which was funny because I was like, "What's going on with this?" It was by a sacred mountain of Shiva there, where two clients were at, and there was we were tracking. They're both clients were having nightmares of this like really dystopic Terminator type style, alien AI going on there, and like we're by Holy Mountain. Why are we dreaming of this and feeling really weird? And when I started scanning the grid, it was a 75-mile grid that alien AI group was forming there, but it was connected to one of the generals in Indian military that had to deal with this alien AI group, which was really surprising. So, but Shiva and Vishnu, a lot of the higher Hindu beings came down. We called them and saying they cleared out that grid really fast. We're like, what? You can't desecrate our sacred area with your stupid alien AI structure.
You see the AI stuff.
But it is a bigger threat coming on in different areas. It was another area here. I can't remember. We did something recently in the U.S. with that too, when it was coming up. But there's different technologies that you see that push in the mainstream anyway for that.
Yeah.
It's to make it easier for the alien AI energy to come in, which we don't
That's
want.
right. No.
So that's something else that we have to work on
The
dismantling.
last time that we did the show, I did say that by the time the election comes up, there's going to be one or two things. One, there's going to be some kind of catastrophic event, or there's going to be an alien invasion. Because they know there's going to be an avalanche here, a tsunami against this current administration.
Well,
and they don't want the people to go out.
Well, they already are admitting, in Congress that there are aliens, right?
Well, they
so
came out
I
with that
agree
now.
with you, what you're saying. Yeah, now they can.
You know?
But you were saying that
I said
long
that-
before they even
That's
said
right.
it.
I said
okay,
that a long time ago.
And if you think about it, Stephen, I mean, how many years have you been doing this work?
Oh my God! And I mean, we almost had the alien invasion. Well, there were two scenarios last September and the year before where they were going to be the reptilians. The year before, and Negative Nordics, they actually were going to come in and do a scenario like that. Then the Andromedans came in and intercepted it, and we're like, "You do that, we're going to blow your ass out the sky." So we've had two timelines already shift, but now, like I said, they're still trying to pull different cards out.
Yeah.
And like part of the
But see,
disclosure has to
now-
happen.
now-
Even though they're fighting David Grush tooth and nail now and trying to roll back with some counter stuff
you
against
see
them.
these things that they're being seen, the triangle ships and all of these things.
Oh, yeah,
These
extra
things
BT
here,
craft. Yeah,
you know who they belong to?
Oh,
They
those are
belong to
ours.
us.
Those are
Yeah,
ours.
the military.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
They belong to us.
Well, the
Reverse
Navy put
it.
them
And right
Here,
now,
but-
us don't control the military, and they don't control anything.
Secret Space Program group,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
goes
but
deeper.
but look at now how long. The reason I was bringing that up, how long you've been doing this and talking about
Yeah.
it. I mean,
We were so
you've
happy
been
to see
on
them.
this show, Christine's show. You've been on my show. Okay, and now this
Life
is
expert.
years
You're
and
just a
years
show.
and years. No, listen what I'm saying. Think about it, okay? Because initially, people probably couldn't understand why would you be saying that. Now people are aware
Yeah.
as time has gone on, and they see that
More
hey, that
whistleblowers
guy
coming
was
out.
right.
Everybody,
See what I mean?
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
would probably
It's
agree
Kudos
with
to
this-
you.
It's
with
true.
this
Thank you.
following
Likewise.
thing. Okay. before the first election of Trump, they thought they had it sewed up. Okay, they thought that person was going to win and everything else.
Yeah.
If she would have won, none of this would be going on right now. It'd be so subtle. It would probably happen like in the year 3000.
Oh, we would have had nuclear war if she got in. They wanted nuclear terrorism back then. That was the timeline if she would have won.
It would have been very, very subtle. You wouldn't heard a thing. But when he came out and started exposing all this stuff, all right, they come out him with every weapon they had. And they were guaranteeing that he would not win, which means the fix was in.
And Mary predicted it before anybody when he was a black horse, right? When he was a black horse, right?
On your show.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
remember that. Yes, I did. And, the other thing is, too, what concerns me, so like what you're saying about the alien invasion, or right now, we're dealing with Mars and Virgo, and as you're as an astrologer too, you realize, that can be illness, and I have a very strong feeling between now and in September, you're going to start hearing bits and pieces about this major illness again and everything.
Well, they said it was going to come out.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Who was it who just said that?
They released a report the other day about the
Somebody
new virus.
Somebody just said something about that the other day.
Who? No, I'm talking about Mars on my charts.
Oh, no.
I'm talking about
the new COVID variant type thing.
Before the COVID thing happened, there was Dr. Midget there, okay, saying,
Dr. Midget.
right, saying that
so funny.
during the presidency of Donald Trump, okay, there was going to be a major, what do they call that thing?
Outbreak
of
pandemic,
some kind of thing, right? And how would you know? How would you know that? Because you were the one doing it.
Oh,
Exactly,
just like with
You
Bill
were the
Gates.
one making it in China.
With Bill Gates' pandemic. That's a whole other.
Yeah.
That's a whole
But there were
I'm
negative
telling
ETs
you.
feeding off of that. We actually talked about in previous shows. Different negative ET groups are feeding off that energy, and they were using that agenda for the jab to put the nanobots and the negative magnetic spin particles that are lined up to some of the negative timelines that the Series B group is creating. So it's all tied into bigger agendas of control. Yeah. And then what pissed me off even more recently was not the last variant, the one before. So many variants they keep making up, but the variant before, you know what they called that one? Arcturus. Yeah. They had the balls to call the most sacred star system that name and apply it to a virus. Like that's the most direct.
I shouldn't even.
No, but it's so over the top. You have to laugh at the insanity because how do you go from labeling like an alpha, like a Greek letter, designation to a virus to naming it after a sacred star? And now the new one is called Eris, with the goddess of discord, speaking about the
goddess of discord,
and like the female counterpart to Mars and Virgo tats. So
this is what. Yeah, but really, I've been really looking at this about Mars and Virgo because that gives them, a lot of ammunition to start. Yeah. Well, so I'm concerned it's going to already start. Brewing.
And when Mars was in Leo was when the Series B group put that tetrahedron up. Trying to take advantage of the fire aspect and distorting the fire, Leo, Mars. And Venus was in Leo as well. So it was a...
See, they did the same thing with ISIS, the name of ISIS.
Oh my God, that pissed me off the most all these years.
Oh yeah. How they desecrated her name, remember, with the terrorist, right? But my concern about the alien invasion is this. They're promoting this thing now that it's all fake. Now we do know they have Project Bluebeam. So they can create that, okay? However, there's, like what they were doing yesterday, trying to line up the planets with the vortex energies to bring in negative ET
God
group,
will
right?
not allow that.
He won't allow it. But what I'm saying is, so, you got on one hand fake and on one hand people trying to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's total misdirection. Total misdirection. What are you going to believe? What's true? What's not true?
Because they're working with them, so
they're doing everything right in front of your face.
Right
when they're coming out, listen. When the media is coming out and they are not giving you the truth, they're giving someone's opinion who writes that stuff for them to read. All they are readers. They read a teleprompter. That's all they are.
Which we don't have here.
A third grader could read the promo, the teleprompter. Okay, that's why the president has so much trouble reading.
Oh my God! If you can read it all,
really.
Anyway, but it's one way or another. it's going to be one way or another. It's either going to be
One
the
way
aliens
or
have
another.
invaded and you have to stay in your homes, or it's going to be, all these horrible germs are out there. You have to stay in your homes,
It's like,
you know? And I'm telling you, this is scary to me, because I also see that there's really some nice energy coming in 2024, and I have always said that. And I feel that we will win.
Well, we did
100%,
win.
100%.
This is just a timeline playing out. We did win.
Well, yeah, we have to still push through, and that's the big thing. I always talk about.
We gotta
2025 was a big
4
year
months.
You gotta
4
make-
months.
yeah.
We got 4 months to
You
get
got-
through
you got-
2023.
Well, I don't know. I mean, to me, it's not really until 2025. There's less shitstorm. Going on that sense, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not good-
Yeah.
and that 2025 is a big marker point that people need to also
Big.
have the nervous system. Well, I would talk about 2025 for a long time, but that it came in challenging years ago, and I was, also
What's
realizing
that song?
as
The
a-
year 25-25.
But not
it's
in a
also like
nutshell.
it's also a 13-year period of the Mayan calendar of the underworld from 2012 to 2025. Sean David Morton at first pointed out to me, but I channeled it years ago that 2025 was a sacred period once we, in terms of that 13-year time point. I didn't realize it was Mayan calendar
thought it was
related,
12
but it
years.
also is. Well, no, they have there's
What's a leap year?
There's a leap year. But I mean, for many years they kept saying that energy was going to be so much higher after 2025, and that was like a dividing point that people need to get their act together by 2025, otherwise they wouldn't be able to kind of like recent friend also picked up the same message that they won't be able to ride the wave of the new energy coming in. If the nervous system isn't higher calibrated, they're going to miss part of that wave. It's going to be harder to get back on track. Yeah. So that's why a lot of this stuff, there's so much timeline manipulation has been going on, both human-wise and ET-wise, because they're really trying to get people more stuck into a lower fake karmic cycle is what we've also been trying to clear out. In other words, trying to trick a lot of light workers into thinking that certain things that were already cleared are not cleared, trying to reopen old wounds that already are healed. Mm-hmm. And that's been a big thing where they've been trying to surround energetically, poking holes in the magnetic axis of the earth. We saw a few months ago Series B group was doing that again, and they were linking it up to other negative timelines so that people would be surrounded by negative reference points of their past as well as probable ones, and instead of being kind of the positive ones. So we're saying, no, we don't consent to these negative mirrors of like fake negative timelines or something from the past that we already healed. Doesn't need to be shoved in our face again. But they were trying to get people into that martyred state again of like lower victimization.
Yeah.
That has come up a lot.
There are doorways to these timelines that have been popping open, and we have to heal and seal these past, present, parallel timelines where these points are that you're talking about. And so I check almost on a daily basis. However, I forgot yesterday, and I found that 2 of them were open. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what the hell? This was cleared. So pay attention to that. I'm talking about your whole soul group. Your family soul group, your sphere of influence. This has to be healed.
Your oversoul.
Yeah, and right in the oversouls, definitely. Definitely. So we have to pay close attention to that. And there's other things, well, maybe it would be more appropriate to do it on a metaphysical healing show, because there's some other things that are very important for mankind that we have to clear. But I don't know if this is an appropriate time to discuss it.
Well, it's very important, especially at this time, that everyone start really caring about their health, because you have to be prepared for whatever it is that's coming. Okay? This is the time now that you have to really start paying attention to what you're doing.
Anybody comes up with anything
health-wise
that works like during COVID. Trump said hydrocodone.
Yeah.
One plant makes it in the United States. Everything else is in China. Guess what? The plant in the United States burned down the next day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Gee, how did that happen? It was just an accident. Okay, that's all. It was an accident. Okay. Then you take, when you look
that's
at
why I like RFK, honestly, in my opinion. He'd be nice to come in there.
I missed that. What?
RFK, but
Every time
I wish he would be able to take out Biden in terms of be like the Democratic side. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree,
100%.
He'd be the more balanced candidate.
I am 100%
because he's the middle of the road guy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? The Democrats are so much to the left, they're beyond left.
Exactly.
They're coming back around to the right.
Exactly.
Yeah, but he sees it.
He's called it out for a lot of years. Yeah.
He sees the phoniness in it.
Yeah.
That cost his brothers their lives.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
And don't think they didn't have those guys who had the dossier on Trump from that Hillary Clinton paid all that money for. All right, the pack of lies.
Oh yeah.
This was all set up. If you think
he has
now,
his own dirt, but I mean,
if you think now,
I don't put him on too highest pedestal either because he has his own crap, but by comparison, definitely better.
Yes.
Right.
But obviously,
You can't.
listen,
that's the.
he has a certain arrogance.
He has his
about
own
him.
ego
You
and his
wanna
own
know something?
self-fulfilling stuff too, you know.
But
know,
at
he
least
gets
At least
done-
he-
sees.
Yeah.
Listen, I got to tell you something. Democratic, the side of one bird. Republican, the other wing
Two
of the
wings,
bird.
the same bird,
It's
yeah.
the same bird.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, the people behind the scenes doing all this stuff are
They're
doing
in
it both.
cahoots.
Of course
Yeah,
they
yeah,
are.
yeah.
And
They're
all
in
the
cahoots.
countries are in cahoots too.
You know who's paying them.
Yeah.
If you think that vegetable over there,
The vegetable.
right, is running this country, okay? He's got an earpiece in his ear. There's
Oh,
a
yeah.
videotape of his predecessor saying, if I had somebody who was like of a lesser mind, all right, and I could be in my sweats in my basement, okay, talking into his earbud, what does he wear? He has that in.
Exactly.
Okay? He's an automaton. He's told what to do. You ever watch him when he's trying to get off the plane or when he's going up to the stage? He walks in the opposite direction.
Yep.
It's funny when they have the hot mics on the Secret Service guys. Oh, he's going another way again.
Oh my God.
You know?
So
and you can hear it's funny. It's pathetic to take
It is.
a person who's senile, all right, and put him and parade him
And a
around.
mockery
It's
of
a
what we're
mockery
about.
of our democracy,
Yep.
if you want to call it a
That's a
democracy.
good rhyme. Democracy.
Well, you know, I want to ask you a question. I asked you this before in the kitchen, and
The kitchen
I
sounds
think
so funny.
the people would like
Yeah, they're
to
actually in the
hear
kitchen in the
this.
studio here.
Yeah, because some of the conversations we have in the kitchen are the best.
So funny.
But I said to Stephen, okay, Stephen, if we go to the movie Jupiter Ascending, which I think so much truth is in that, if you look at that movie and watch it a few times, you're going to see, number one, there's something really fascinating. In the beginning, it has the DNA spirals, and it connects the tree of life, which is really fascinating. But also, I had said, okay, so the Dracos, you know, they're let's call them the bad guys behind the scenes, the negative ETs, and there are other groups too. But then there's humanoid groups behind those beings, and I'd like to know if you have a feel for who they might be.
Yeah, I always think it's more like allies to me. I see it. Well, in terms of Set, we've talked about Set before in
Yes.
circles before. Dark Orion, six-dimensional dark leader. He's one of the top echelon of the Dark Galactic Empire. Not the only one, but he's part of that council, and he's got a big enough empire to kind of roll around. Some reptilian groups he does control, not all of them necessarily. They are part of his empire, so I'd say he's definitely the higher head honcho behind a lot of their activities. But they also go and they have their own little version of their empire doing things, and they have their hybrid experiments like a lot of them do. So there's some clients that worked on that were connected to that had some reptilian DNA, and they were being prepped for to be like a liaison for like post-reptilian invasion scenarios. So there's a lot of these people and some really trippy clients I have out there that are involved in stuff, but and who are involved in military or in secret service program stuff, and or like some of these breeding projects. And you get to see some of these like little, it's almost like the dark side of their wet dreams, what they would like to manifest, if they had their way, but we're not going to have their way, obviously. No. But understand the methodology and there's importance, so we can nip it in the bud as well, right, and call in more justice there and decipher, decode, dissolve it. So, it's not just them, but multiple negativity groups were making the alien-human hybrids from their particular genetic pool, not just now, but also throughout history. There's been a lot of those different timelines, bloodlines of Illuminati families that connect back to different...
you think?
Obviously, that's why the world families are so obsessed about their bloodlines, not just because they were into, incense, so to speak, in their family, because
you want to hear a good one?
They want to have they want to maintain the negativity fourth-dimensional bloodline.
I was watching this video, and... guy made a really good point. He said that using the Bible, he knows exactly where the throne of Satan is. Okay? You're going to love this one. All right? And I stood there being a historian, and I stood there and listened to what he had to say.
Sure.
All right? And I thought about it. During every single conflict that we had on this planet since the 1900s.
Yeah.
Okay? Every single one. There was one country whose neutrality was never encroached upon.
Switzerland?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's where the rich guys are.
No. That's where all the money is.
Yeah.
That's where the World Bank is. That's where everything is
Yeah.
there.
That's what I mean.
Geneva.
It's one of the Illuminati capitals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're never
Yeah.
one. That is the
Yeah,
place.
yeah,
That's the place that runs the whole shebang.
And I don't even think they
okay.
took the jab.
How about this? No, they didn't take any of it. They know it doesn't
Well, the whole
work.
Swiss Alps is so many underground bases. The whole it's like Swiss
Yeah.
cheese there, literally.
The point of it is this.
Mm-hmm.
Germany, World War II, height of their power. That would have been like just you're hitting a flea off your dog. Okay? They were neutral. Other companies want. Poland was there.
Yeah.
They could have been neutral, but they would have been swallowed up,
Yep.
which they were.
Yeah.
Why wasn't that country swallowed up?
Yeah.
Because that's where everything they stole went.
Yes. Yes.
Okay? Because who was under the control? They were under the control of you know who.
Yeah.
That I word that you used before.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right?
And the
There you
Rothschilds
go.
are there too.
Think
especially.
about
Yeah,
Rothschilds,
yeah.
what the
Habsburgs are also about Austria, but still they're all connected there. No, we've tried different. Well, I was there back
The
in
Windsors.
back in 2000, and when I was driving, I have a relative over there and who had some interesting connections. But when we were driving, I was driving through the Swiss Alps. You know, it looks so beautiful. But I got off one area there. Visually, it's beautiful, but then I felt so much sadness and depression coming out of the earth. I was like, "What's going on here?" Then I heard some explosions in the distance, and my friend of his said, "Oh yeah, those are some of they're building more tunnels because it's all underground all underground bases in Switzerland." I mean, the public there was told originally, you know, when you look up stories that Swiss built bases to first be able to, like, in case there was a nuclear war, to store the food and feed millions of their people. They have enough facilities to literally do that. That was their base one story. But they have other stuff, space program stuff, other things going on with like negative ET groups. So there's definitely a set presence over there. Negative Nordic ET group over there. Multiple ones are over there. And anyway, so when I was hearing that explosion, and I felt Gaia like really sad, and she's like, I'm being raped here, because they're like violating and creating all those underground tunnels and those beautiful mountains, those sacred vortexes. They're just blowing up all this stuff underground to create this massive network, you know, of this hub, you know. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. We never, you know, think that from the outside. And then even the Swiss military, but, you know, people, you know, my friends over there said that it's like, I'd say the Nazis are like running it over there pretty much in that sense, the way they're so controlling.
yeah.
But then the interesting thing is that all the Swiss citizens, guess who they actually all pay taxes to, though? They all pay taxes to the Vatican still.
Now,
You were
That's
gonna
why
say
the Swiss
that.
Swiss Guard and Vatican.
Okay, now,
Yeah.
let's call a
Which is really interesting.
Let's call a spade here a spade.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they guard the
Okay.
Pope.
Yep.
That man
Yep.
in the Vatican there,
Exactly.
the man that runs around with a dress.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That man there
That's just the white pope.
Okay.
You have the black pope and you have the
came
gray
out
pope. You're the
and
ones behind him.
said that when he knows that there are aliens, and he would welcome them into the Catholic Church.
Yeah, and
Can you believe that?
And
that is documented. You can check that out.
it's true. It's true.
Okay.
How come
And a lot of the
is
other
that?
main religions, came out and said basically the same thing.
Which again,
Okay. So don't tell me you're not being set up for an invasion.
but that's also how we can, it works both ways, right? Because there has to be an opening of Pandora's box so that the positive ETs can be welcomed to the earth. So there has to be a bigger gnosis of awakening about the revelation of our interactions with some of these groups. So of course they want to spin the narrative their way. So, but it's like, it's inevitable. So it has to come out. So for me, I'm like, as long as it comes out, then we can deal with the more the truth side of the narrative. But of course, Vatican, they've worked. Their agents in the Vatican have worked with the Southern Cross group from like the Beelzebub group. There is a base for the Grim Reaper group in Italy there too, and they're there. They also work with the Dark Orion Set group. So I mean, I had a client who was in my lab as well, a secret space programming. One of his altars during his period when he was working, he actually was one of the bodyguards for some of the cardinals and bishops that went off planet with the Southern Cross Beelzebub group to their home world and had meetings with them, and they're based in Peru. So because this Beelzebub Southern Cross group is one of the main groups behind the shadow side of Christianity, and so it's an interesting kind of seeing the exopolitics behind these groups, and back to Switzerland too, and then even the funny story too, the Swiss military, they have it so advanced that if any invading army comes to their tanks on all the borders of Switzerland, where the bridges are at and the highways that go into the country, they literally have these ramps where part of the highway will lift up and it will capture the enemy tanks so that they can't move, and then they can shoot missiles from the mountaintops to blow up all the enemy tanks around it. So they have it set up like a fortress around Switzerland to also deal with invading.
That makes sense. and isn't that where CERN is too?
Yes, of course.
See?
Yes.
That is
The big particle accelerator and
That's
doing
right.
parallel
Oh.
reality
That's
harnessing.
right.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, and there's like a nodal point on the other side of the earth, off the coast of New Zealand, where there's another facility off the coast there. And New Zealand is also is like the Swiss Alps and down south.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of Illuminati stuff and headquarters of bigger negative ET groups that's going on in New Zealand that we even have the track that's behind a lot of this shit that we're dealing with. Continuation of the Montauk Project also going in New Zealand.
They have
huge things
two
going on
pilots,
there.
Air Force pilots,
right?
that were flying a cargo plane to Antarctica.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a grid that they're not allowed to fly over, okay, in Antarctica, all right. And as they were flying, around, they were circling, they happened to go through it.
Oh, wow.
And they've noticed there's artificial doors that open up, okay, and inside was vegetation, greenery, things that don't belong there.
Yeah.
I got my family here now.
Oh,
that's so cute.
My little guys.
Oh, adorable.
That's so nice.
Okay, say hi.
Star Kids of the Next Generation.
Especially that one. You're going to hear that one.
Yeah.
I'll tell you all about the Titanic.
I love it. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So cute.
So cute.
His eyes will, Speaking of positive Norse energy.
That's my Norwegian child.
Yeah.
I call him Sven.
Mini Thor.
Well,
I believe it.
It's like a linebacker, that kid.
Adorable.
That's so cute.
Anyway.
Oh, man. Yeah, so no, definitely. So these, that's the thing too. Also, when I work with clients overseas and I track more facilities in those other countries and seeing how they're throwing out, like we talked about last time on those shows, where beginning of last year, a lot of our governments made updated deals with their negative ET groups to basically try to give them more permission to manipulate our history and connect more to that negative parallel reality, parallel Earth. And so that's one reason why we've had to deal with so much more fallout in terms of why I see everyday clients with cords and implants in their aura that are coming from different bases, some military, some straight up alien bases that are, been trying to commodify people's energy and harness it more to feed into their systems and spool it into more negative timelines so they can literally pull negative timeline threads into people's auric fields and try to use them as anchor points. So we need to be like, no, we're here to birth the positive timeline, not be a spindle for some dark web thread that these negative spider energies are, also part of that
I've been dealing with spiders.
Oh, the dark spider. The spiders are the bigger nuns that are part of this are a set group because they have a whole dark galactic web that they created between different planets, energetically speaking. And they have these negative spider priests and spider priestesses that work with this. I mean, they're like these giant,
Do they have their own
10-foot tall, like
federation?
black crystalline spiders with a high screeching sound. That like really ultimate horror story.
Nightmares tonight.
I have that. Yeah, I've dealt with them and they're horrifying. They're on Orion and they're like.
What are you worried about? I got a spray can.
Exactly. There's a reason why you're exterminated over here.
That's it. They'd be done.
Yeah, they showed those spiders in Harry Potter movies.
Yes. And again, there's the original positive Weaver energy, but they destroyed the spider vortex in Orion to make it a dark one instead of the positive Weaver of like the Ariadne and the positive, type of creatrix.
But they're coming from the second dimension right now, and I've been dealing with a lot of clearing there. And
They're operating from 1 to 4.
Well,
They don't want us to go. They don't
B,
want the population of the Earth to go to 5.
And the Series B group
Right.
is also using these AI, and the military using these AI astral spiders, astral
Yes.
AI spiders that are also connected to some of the nanobots and some of the jobs and trails are either worm ones or spider shaped ones. So it's like as above, so below. They want to create like a mechanical version and an astral etheric version of the misuse of some of these insect archetypes, that reflects bigger things going on, and so
Yeah, and I
so that's
don't
why
like
they
that
bring
one
back
little
our
bit.
power to the
Yeah.
quantum level and be like, no, we don't submit our will to any of these AI constructs, whether they're physical AI or whether it's astral etheric AI. We don't want the dark web, so to speak. We want the real positive web of life that connects creation and helps liberate us.
I was actually thinking about perhaps on the show tonight that we should finish clearing out the second dimension. It's going to bump the Earth up much higher, though, once that happens. And so it might not be a good time because we just had the moon and we just had the Lion's Gate.
Yeah.
Well, you still got residue
There's a
from the
lot
Lions
of
Gate.
energy
The Lions
going
Gate,
on right now.
The
There's
The Lions
so
Gate runs
much.
2 weeks before, 2 weeks after.
So maybe it might not be the right time. We can't go up too quick. It'll kill too many people.
You don't think they're doing that themselves?
Oh my God. You guys are so
Well,
funny.
maybe we should then.
Good question. And speaking about 2D though, there's a lot of other stuff with 2D that's coming up. In general, misuse of technology that has to do with the cyberspace, where they've been trying to push cyberspace onto the inner planes. Like the next level hidden virtual reality AI stuff is about creating a version of the virtual reality that's on the astral plane that they're codifying, and literally while some people are awake, there's technology that they're putting on etherically to try to link people up to this, like, so some of it almost looks like a twisted version of like a cartoon like Disney type movie
You
scenario.
do know the reason
know?
for all that is.
And so some people are literally seeing cartoon figures when they close their eyes.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody's out there listening to this, but if you do, this is part of a system that we've tracked to certain defense contractors that are been beta testing this out, and they're kind of putting it out in different big cities first as part of a bigger hidden rollout to try to create this artificial holographic layer.
We have been the lab rats for them.
Well, of course we have, but I'm saying, but now they're really pushing it out more in terms of.
Well, now it's all in your face.
Some of it's like some of it looks like a visor or like a helmet. Some of it's like an ear thing over the mouth too, or like a helmet, or like one person the whole bodysuit was like an astral AI like virtual reality bodysuit that they put on.
They were showing something. Now
we had to take it off like a hologram because it was literally interfacing her with this. So she was seeing they would use some of your own memory of like watching cartoons and movies and feed into it. So it's almost like using your own pixels, your energy as pixels for this larger astral virtual reality screen. And so this is part of a bigger thing where they want to create this rollout in a few years.
A giant Mandela effect
around the Earth, where they want to overlay it into DNA, and they want to overlay it around the Earth to try to create this like digital AI, astral digital AI barrier to the higher realms, which we're not going to allow. But this is part of their little, part of their little plot.
About the AI, I was seeing something that they said that in Japan, I was watching these AI robots. You know the ones you used to see on TV in the shows?
Oh, yeah.
They're real.
Yeah.
They already have them.
Yeah, they do.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
The thing they were doing scenarios, military scenarios with these things, killed 29 people.
Oh, yeah.
Killed 20, it was armed. It killed 29 people. All right, before they shut it down. Got it. So the point of it is that these things are not good.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
These things are not
Well,
good.
here's a question for you. You said there were 6 groups that were negative, that were more or less trying to take over the Earth. Why do they want the Earth so bad?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's always 6, but yeah, there's definitely there's several key ones for sure that we can go through names of that. I mean, well, no, I mean there is. Oh, he's so cute. there is. Oh, he's waving to you there. Oh yeah, giving us the signal here.
We got 5 minutes.
Oh, I thought it was 7. What happened?
That's a little off.
Oh, okay.
So
You're
why do
using
you
my
think they want the
grandkids to
Earth?
tell me I have
It's
5
so
minutes.
cute.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
I know.
It's so cute. I mean, there's
That's
also
interesting.
a bigger thing about looking at, even as you go higher dimensions, about our sun, which we talked about a little precursor to Christina's show about sun being such an important part of our ascension process, and that's also something
You're
that's
talking
really
about the central sun or our sun?
well, our local sun being such an important part of it. Both of them are an important part of it. The galactic center and our local sun are connected. I mean, the local throne of God is our local sun, and its ability to transmute our DNA and give us the gamma rays for evolution is going to be coming in much stronger. And recently, they just discovered that the sun was emitting huge amounts of gamma rays, which blew a lot of the scientists off the back about a month ago. I was saying that since the 1990s. So I was saying, oh, there's gamma rays. I'm telling you, we're here to channel that. Higher solar beings are all about harnessing gamma rays, because gamma rays go right to the core of your atoms and can mutate your DNA. So it's literally part of our physical ascension as energy coming from the sun that they're trying to block with all this geoengineering and chemtrails and false lighting.
You were talking about that when you were a guest on
your show too, I think.
Mine and Brian's show. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
I remember interviewing you
and now
about that.
This is the first time they talked about gamma rays not this past month publicly, saying that
That was
because
a
they
couple
built new
years
observatories to finally pick up on the gamma ray transmissions, and they're talking about huge amounts of gamma rays that are like up to 10 trillion electron volts. Like the average photon is 1 electron volt. This is up to 10 trillion electron volts. That's how powerful it is coming from the sun. Anyway, but so point is that because in a sense it's like we have this higher like throne of God idea in our local sun, and it's been a progression where the negative ETs were trying to, it's almost like dark forces trying to get as close as they can to the throne of God to try to mock the creator and his local territory and try to reverse the creation. So you had the negative progression of negative ETs that came in first through Maldek, the planet in between Mars and Jupiter that eventually blew up. That was a tremendous violation, right? Then you had them go further in and infiltrate into Mars, and then they destroy that civilization. Now they're here on Earth, and so a lot of us came in higher levels saying, no, we're not going to allow this third violation to happen so close to this throne divinity, and also having so many planets in our solar system are higher ascended beings that are on our solar system, except for Mars and here, on Earth in between.
That's funny, 'cause
so it's been like a real estate consciousness thing of like, how much can you, how close do they get to such a divine place and link it up to such a bigger, darker grid? And also there's been so many genetic experiments, and over thousands of years, there's been so much intense investment in the Earth, real estate wise, consciousness wise, by so many different groups. So they don't want to just let it go, freely. And they because on a higher spiritual level, Earth is becoming like this tip of this galactic Excalibur, where her energy is going to be able to cut through so much darkness when she fully ascends, because she's been through the mill of all types of violations. She's been so unconditional in creating things, allowing creation to to happen here. Now it's like her womb is saying, no, I'm not going to allow this creation to happen anymore. So it's like the positive feminine saying, no, mother needs to choose what she wants to give birth to and what she doesn't want to give birth to, right? But now she's experienced so much of that, variety of creation. She's going to be so beautiful in this new like rainbow light body diamond field that's going to help other 3D planets who are going through trauma and drama to make it faster.
Well, that's what they captured was the divine feminine energy, and now it's my understanding that 70% of that has been freed now, but they're still capturing 30% of it. So, and as these magnetic energies come in, because don't forget, there is the goddess. Not just the male aspect. It's not only patriarchal; they're equal. And the goddess energy is coming on strong, and so are the divine masculine, and that's why they're doing this transgender thing to screw up the men and the women and make you think that there's no real gender.
That's a whole other ball game. That's a whole other show.
That's a whole show.
Let's do one thing here. Let's leave that one alone.
We'll leave that alone
before I say things I'm not supposed to.
You don't want to.
Hey, listen, I got a funny one for you.
That's another rabbit hole.
We got to close out now. We got 2 or 1. How many we got? We got 1. We got to close out. All right. I'd like to thank our guest, Stephen.
Calling that Illyrian energy, speaking of galactic lion energy.
Talking to you.
Sorry,
All right.
No,
I'd
she
like
loved the
to
goddess
thank
energy,
him.
so.
He knows his name. Tell him who you are.
Stephen Popiotek.
See, there you go. And Mary?
Mary Silvernail. Yeah.
Okay.
Showing her nails.
And sis?
Yeah, Adolphina Shephard, of course.
And of course me.
Tom.
Thomas Cabot.
Thomas the Tempest. What? No, Tom. That was
Wow.
good. Yeah.
I gotta get some water here. Put out these flames. Okay. Anyway,
Thomas the tickler now. No.
Look for us every Friday night at 9:30 our new time on channel 79 Spectrum and on Fios channel 35. All right, and on YouTube under the show title name. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you. Love
Good
you.
night.
Blessings.
Good night.
Good
Many,
night.
many bright blessings.
Good night.